Hello, welcome to Do It Yourself with Wayne. Today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to walk you around my garden. I'm going to show you what I've got and ask you questions, or ask you if you have questions. So basically this video is going to be a tour of my garden. I'm going to show you what I've got, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the different things that I've got planted and the items around my garden, and give you a chance to ask questions. And if there's something specific that you'd like more information on, let us know in the comments and we'll try to create a video about that topic if we get enough interest. So let's get on with the tour. Okay, I'm going to start down here in front of my house. These are blueberry bushes. We just planted those a couple months ago. They're looking really good. And we got 5 or 6 different varieties, I forget just exactly. But they're different varieties because with blueberries you need different varieties to cross-pollinate. They do better that way. But we've got different varieties. Like I've got 2 varieties that come early, a couple of varieties that come a little bit later in the summer, and a couple of varieties that come later in the summer. So hopefully in time we will have a fairly decent crop of blueberries throughout the summer, or as best we can. So anyway, that's our blueberries. Next, I'm going to start with some of the oldest stuff we have in our garden. Now, in our first raised bed here at the far end is our asparagus. This is the 3rd year of our asparagus, and we've actually eaten a little bit of asparagus off of that particular crop this year. Not much, but some. We hope to get more next year. And on the near end is our garlic. Now, a few weeks ago we had this, I guess about a week ago, we had this full of garlic. We had 3 different varieties. I pulled the first 2 varieties. I'll show you a picture of that in just a minute. But a 3rd variety didn't seem like it had progressed quite as far as I wanted it to be harvested. So we left the 3rd variety in the ground for a little bit longer. That'll probably be pulled up in the next couple weeks or so. So give me a minute and I'll show you the garlic that we pulled. This is the garlic we've already pulled this year. And my cat's in the background sneezing. That's Tater. If you haven't seen Tater before, he's a little white guy. He's a good little kitty. But anyway, there's 3 varieties here. This pile at the far left is some of the variety that's still in the garden that we did pull a few. And the 2 in the middle are one variety, the 2 in the far right are another variety. And I don't remember which varieties they were. It would take some research to figure that out. But we got them in here in our closet where they can cure out. And after they cure for about 2 weeks, we'll be working on getting them ready for storage. Another thing we have here at the lower end of our garden is electric fence. And I've done a video on my electric fence install before. That's the charger for it. I keep a bucket over it just to keep rain out of it. A brick keeps the bucket in place. But anyway, if you've never had an electric fence, it's great for keeping a lot of critters out of your garden. And in our area we have squirrels, rabbits, raccoons, possums, deer, fox, God knows what else, but at least those different animals that I know come through my yard either day or night. And some of them get into my garden and, you know, they eat what they want, and I'd rather eat it myself. I like the animals, but I like my garden too. But anyway, right now the fence is not on, which is obvious by the fact that I can hold the wire here. It's not on. But just FYI, an electric fence, if it's done right, it doesn't kill animals. All it does is scare them away. That's all it does. Is, you know, it just gives them a little shock. They don't understand it, they leave. That's all it does. But it works very well for keeping those little varmints out of your garden. And like I said, I do have a video of installing my electric fence. I'll put a link to that in the bottom. Now this is our 2nd raised bed as numbered from the lower end to the upper end. And at the beginning here we got our cabbage planted. Let's 2, 4, 6, 18. We got 12 cabbage plants. They're doing great this year. Been keeping them watered good. One thing we also have that I didn't really show you is we have a drip irrigation system. Now I don't have it set up on this bed, but I got several of them set up already. And they will be set up in all of our beds when we're finished, and they work great. But I do have a video on installing a drip irrigation system. I'll put a link to that in the description if you're interested there. Down here we got our Irish potatoes planted. I think I got them too thick, but this is what we've got down here is potatoes, and hopefully they'll do good for us. They did good last year in buckets. This year we put them in a raised bed, and so we're going to see how the potatoes do this year over here in our raised bed as opposed to doing them in buckets. And if you want to know how we did them in buckets, we got a video online about doing our potatoes in buckets. I'll put a link in the description to that video as well. This is our third raised bed, and we've got green beans and tomatoes here. And this year we got 4 varieties of tomatoes that we started from seed. There is a video about how I start from seed. I'll put a link to that in the description. But basically we got 4 varieties. One of them is called a Hasenator from Haas Tools. Really cool name. I've never grown that before, but they're supposed to be really good. We'll let you know how that goes in time. We've also got 4th of July, which is a variety that I plant about every year. They tend to be a little bit on the smaller side, but they keep well, and it's a good tasting tomato. We got Better Boys, which is an old time favorite, and we got Cherokee Purple. And I don't remember which is which, but one of the two this way is Cherokee Purple, which is an heirloom variety. They don't look all that pretty, but they do taste good. And then on back here, we got our green beans. In time, they'll come up and grow up on this lattice work. And in the past, we've done really well with our green beans. So that's what we got here. And we got an herb back here that, quite frankly, I can't remember the name of it, so I'm not going to try because I'm sure I would butcher it. But we do a few herbs here and there. And the tomatoes, the way we stake up our tomatoes, we do them the same way we do our green beans. We got more of this wire, and this is cheap stuff. A lot of people use hog panels from your farm extension places. This is cheaper. It's the reinforcing wire for concrete. You get it at your big box stores or places that sell hardware for concrete. Basically, it's just a reinforcing wire, but it's less expensive and it works just fine. I'll take 2 stakes. And in time, this was from last year, I haven't removed it yet, but I'll put 2 here, put 2 over there, and then our tomatoes will grow up on wire like that in the middle. So that's how I plan to stake it. Sorry, there's a hawk flying over, it distracts me. So that's how we'll stake up our tomatoes as they continue to grow and get taller. Now this is my 3rd raised bed as measured or counted from the bottom up. And yeah, I don't guess I really need this, and the earmuffs really make my voice sound weird to me. But anyway, this is our 3rd raised bed, and at the end here we got our cucumbers. Got numerous plants in there, 4, 5, 6, I'm not really sure, but our cucumbers are in there. And as they grow and run, I will put a trellis like we have for our green beans and tomatoes for the cucumbers to run up on. Next we got squash. We've already had blooms on our squash. We've got one little squash that's about that long now. So we should be harvesting some squash here, in the next week or so. And then back here we got our zucchini. And over there is rosemary. Now, if you ever decide to plant rosemary, I will warn you, that stuff can take over. I couldn't begin to tell you how much of that stuff we have cut out and dug up and thrown away over the years. But we do like it, so we always try to keep some. But just know that if you don't do something to control it, it will take over on you. Now down here, we don't have anything planted yet. We'll be putting green beans here. Of course, we've got green beans over there. I've already told you that. But we want a later crop of green beans that we'll put here. And if you're wondering about these 2 stumps, they're old dogwood stumps. When I started putting in raised beds, I had dogwood trees here. And you can't grow crops under shade trees. So I cut the dogwoods down. I got plenty more. And at the time, the stumps, it's hard to get a dogwood stump up. So I left them. I figured I'd just plant around them for a while. But when we planted green beans here, just a couple nails in the stump, put our wire on it for the green beans to grow up on. It worked so well, I decided I'm not going to get rid of those stumps until they just rot out. I think they've been here 5 years, and They're still real solid. And at this time, I'd like to say, if you like my video, please click like on it, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel. Those things really help us to grow and bring you more stuff, and I would really appreciate it. All right, now on to the last raised bed. This is our 5th raised bed, and this is where we plant our onions. And you'll also notice that this raised bed is not as high as the others. When I put this bed in last year, I was planning to plant onions, and onions don't grow very deep, so the soil doesn't have to be deep. And as you can see, we got our onions in here. I got a video about how we plant our onions. It works out really well. It makes it go quick. It doesn't take near as much time as it might look like, but I'll put a link to that video in the description. But anyway, this is our onions, and last year we had onions. I think we harvested them mid to late summer, and we had onions I think until February or March we ate the last of our onions. But anyway, they keep a long time if you care for them properly. So this is our onions, and they've done very well. And so that's our last raised bed. Now on the other side of my driveway, I do have my old garden, which I've had there for over 20 years. It's just, in the ground. They're not raised beds. There's nothing over there to get excited about. I've got 4 rows of corn, but I just planted those a couple days ago, so there's nothing to see except dirt. And as time goes on, we'll be planting some more tomatoes over there, some more cucumbers, maybe some okra, a few things like that. But like I said, right now there's nothing over there but dirt to look at. So anyway, that's the tour of our garden. If you enjoyed it, like I said, please like, share, subscribe, do those things, and we'd really appreciate it. And we really like to say thank you for visiting Do It Yourself with Wayne, and we hope you have a great gardening season.